In today's Take a Day, I want to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Miami Heat and how it's a big test for the Clippers tonight going against them. Now, before we get into that, though, please like, subscribe. Also hit the notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. We put out content every day, so you won't miss any content here. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So, when I talk about these two teams here, I'm talking about two teams that I feel like that are evenly matched up well. Miami is coming off a loss last night against the other LA team in Staples, which is the Lakers. And, of course, they're definitely out to, appeal that in regards to getting a win tonight. So they won't go O-less in LA. And, of course, they're going to definitely give everything they have and give all the competition they can give to the Clippers. So the Clippers are going to have to be prepared for whatever comes their way. Now, Jimmy Butler had a poor night last night. I think he scored like 7 points. Definitely not good enough up to his standards or, to win any games in this league. He definitely needs to be, better. And I believe he will be better tonight. I believe he'll definitely give him close to 20 plus points tonight. I definitely think Tyler Hero will come up big just as the way he did last night. And, of course, Bam Adebayo, he's pretty consistent as well in regards to how he plays, too. So, I definitely think they'll get, the same out of Bam as well. So the Clippers, what I think the Clippers are going to have to do, they're going to have to find a way to take one of those big three away. It would be better if they could take 2 out of 3 away. But of course, the best thing would be to take all 3 of them away, neutralize all 3. But I'm not sure you're going to be able to do that because the Heat is just a dynamic team, the way they play. And like I said, the fact they got Kyle Lowry in there too, Kyle Lowry can have a big game as well. And, it almost makes them a formidable kind of like big 4 to a degree. But of course, they're not superstars. But at the same time, they have 4 guys they can rely on to give them points, usually on a consistent basis every night. So the Clippers are going to have to find a way to get around that. And, the Clippers ball movement is going to have to really be sharp in this game. You're playing a team who plays with, basketball IQ. And, Eric Spoelstra is a really good coach. I think he's an underrated coach in the NBA. I probably would put him second or third best coach in the NBA if you ask me, because with what he's had to work with the last few years, Miami has still kind of been relevant, and Miami made it all the way to a finals a couple seasons ago in the bubble. So, you have to give him credit with what he's had to work with. He's definitely made the best out of it. Jimmy Butler is no LeBron James or D Wade. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even sure Jimmy Butler is a Chris Bosh, in Chris Bosh's prime when he was a star player on the Toronto Raptors. But, when you look at it, he's taken Jimmy Butler under his wing and the rest of the team and the pieces and made them a very formidable team. And I'm pretty sure the Clippers know that. I'm pretty sure Ty Lue has implemented that to the Clippers and the team and the organization in regards to going against the Miami Heat, because you're going to have a team that has IQ and they play with IQ and they play with high ball movement. And Bam is very active on the boards. And, they have some pieces there that can really hurt you on offense and defense as well, because Jimmy Butler's a really good defender. So they're definitely going to have Jimmy Butler on Paul George. So if Paul George does struggle tonight, I wouldn't be surprised, because Jimmy Butler is a pretty good defender, pretty good two-way player himself. So, I definitely wouldn't be surprised at that. But nevertheless, Paul George is going to have to be aggressive. He's going to have to try to drive in more to the paint and draw fouls, get Bam in foul trouble, and kind of like work the game that way. Just shooting jumpers all night, that's not going to work unless Paul George is just absolutely on fire and hot and can't miss. Of course, we'll take that. But if his first 3 or 4, or should I say his first 5 jumpers that he takes doesn't fall, then he needs to start being aggressive and go to the paint, because if you just try to shoot your way out of a slump, well, you might shoot your way into a loss, and then the winning streak is over. Not only that, but you find yourself losing to a team that you felt like you could have beat if you were just a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end by driving to the basket, drawing fouls, or going to the basket and kicking it out to the wing and let somebody like Batum knock down the 3 and get a high percentage, quality offensive possession. And that's just the way the Clippers are going to have to play it. Now, I do think also, hopefully Tyler Hero doesn't have that big of a game, but he's definitely capable of doing it like he had last night, So with Tyler Hero, if he has a big game, Terrence Mann and Luke Kennard, the backup players, are going to have to be able to match what he has. So let's say Tyler Hero has 22 points, then that means bare minimum, that means Luke Kennard and Terrence Mann are going to have 14, 15 points apiece. just to kind of match what he does or surpass it a little bit. Because when you look at that, this team, the Miami Heat is for real. I think they're for real. I think they're a real legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference. And I think just because they lost last night, I still think they're a threat in the Eastern Conference. And I still think that, a lot of people might understate them a little bit. But I definitely think that the Clippers are going to, see, how good the Miami Heat is and how they play and the competition that they bring. And I think the Clippers will be prepared for it. I expect Paul George to have somewhere around 25 to 30, of course. Last game, I think he had like 24 points. He didn't play as well as I thought that he would. But, I mean, that's okay. They still got the victory, and he still, almost, nearly got a triple-double, I think. So, I mean, that's definitely good. I just thought, maybe he would score like 30, 35 points against the Portland Trail Blazers, because I just don't think that's a team that really can stop him at all. I think that's just a team he can feast on every time they play them. So, but that's still okay. But this game, I think he's going to have somewhere around 30, because I think that, Jimmy Butler's going to have about 24, 25 plus points, I believe. I believe Bam's going to have somewhere around that too. And like I said, the Clippers are going to have good ball movement, but they're also going to have to be active on the boards, because Bam is very active, and he can definitely do a lot of things. He's starting to get better offensively the more and more I see him as well, and it's just a testament to Eric Spoelstra putting him in position to play at his best and be his best at all times, and putting him in position to be more of a scorer than what he was last year and the year prior. So you have to give Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat credit. Shout out to them for what they've been doing. I think they've been a surprise to a lot of people coming into this season. And like I said, I definitely think they're going to give the Nets all they can handle if they have to play them in the playoffs in any round they play. So I like what I see there. But I do think the Clippers, I do think the Clippers have an edge in this one. I mean, I think the Clippers can get some contribution off their bench more, and will allow them to find a way to get the victory. Also, you got to hope that Serge Ibaka gets a little bit, more his footing down pat, gets a little bit more his rhythm going as well. Serge Ibaka can have one of those games too, so you hope for that anyway. But even though he's on limited minutes, he still can contribute and do some things versatility wise that the Clippers can use or utilize to beat the Miami Heat. So I wouldn't, and this game right here is a tricky one, to me, because I wouldn't be surprised, if the Clippers won, of course, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost either, because, like I said, this is a well-coached team. And like I said, they're definitely going to be tough for the Clippers to beat. I definitely see this game being really close. I'm thinking maybe 119 to 116. I'm going to go with the Clippers. I'm going to give the Clippers the edge, because I think I trust more of their role players. I mean, I see Luke Kennard coming up, making big shots in this game. I see Terrence Mann having a 15, 17 point game. I see those, as long as those two players come off the bench and give them consistent points and minutes, I think the Clippers are going to be a factor in regards to being a playoff team and being a notable team going through this season. As long as those two show up, it seems like when those two show up, off the bench or however they play, I feel like, the Clippers just, find a way to, win games that even, maybe some games that they probably shouldn't, because Paul George can struggle. And those two players right there, they can come up big. And even though Paul George struggles offensively sometimes the Clippers, still will win the game, just like they've won a couple games this season already with Paul George not shooting well. But those two actually, playing really good minutes off the bench, playing, making some good defensive splash plays as well, and helping the Clippers get to victory, along with Paul George putting up his points too. Definitely can't leave that out. And Nicholas Batum doing his thing, definitely can't leave him out as well, along with Reggie Jackson. But, we'll see exactly how this game goes. Like I said, 119, 116 is my prediction. I think the Clippers will edge it out, that close. I definitely think the Clippers are going to have to be sound on defense. Don't miss assignments. Don't sleepwalk on defense against this team, because if you do, I think it'll get you beat. And I think the Clippers know that as well. And they're going to have to come out and bring their A game, because that's what it's going to require to beat this team and, beat an Eric Spoelstra team that has high IQ basketball players and players who play within their means and don't, do a lot of turning the ball over and things like that. I mean, even though they lost to the Lakers last night, like I said, it took overtime to do it. And, the Lakers found a way. Good for them. But at the same time, the Clippers going to have to find a way tonight to beat this team and find a way to get a W themselves. But hey, that's my take on the situation. Leave any comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think as always. And hey, Khaliis out.